We have a breaking news report.
Y'all ain't gonna believe this.
Now the question is, who are the Israelites? The Israelites are mentioned thousands of times in the Bible. The Israelites are the chosen people of God, of Yah, as his proper name. Because God can be anything. It can be a God that with millions of gods throughout time in different societies, different cultures, all had different gods. Some of them had hundreds of gods, some of them had one or two. But the Most High said he's a jealous God, and you should have no other gods besides him. So if you can have other gods besides him, then clearly his name not God. That would not be his proper name. But the question is, who are the Israelites? So to break that down, we're going to start with Genesis. Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. So Yah created man in his own image. In the image of Yah, he created them. Male and female, he created them. So if you made in the Most High's image, then if you're made in somebody's image, that means you're of them. You're very similar. Just like a father, his sons or daughters are in his image. That means you have characteristics of that person. You look like that person. That's important. In this world, they'll tell you, oh, race is not important, but you be a fool to think race and nationality not important, because everything is based on race. It wouldn't be something called racism if race wasn't important. If race didn't matter, then racism and things like that wouldn't exist. If race didn't matter, then the Most High wouldn't have picked the Israelites as his chosen people. He set the Israelites apart. And we're going to get further into that. So if race doesn't matter, everybody will look the same. So clearly, the Most High God, the Elohim, Almighty Yah, made a distinction by making different races, by choosing a particular race, a particular nation called the Israelites as his chosen people. So all those lies and people tell, oh, race don't matter, I don't see color, then you would have to be blind not to see color. So all of those are just lies and cliches that people make up. If you didn't see color, then people wouldn't be getting oppressed because of their color. So we know those are clearly lies, and you can be a fool if you want to and just believe a lie that you clearly know is not true just to make yourself feel better or because you're afraid. Some people perpetuate that lie because they want to continue racism, and if you're, one of the races that is doing the oppression or you on top because of oppression, then of course you're going to say race don't matter and it's no such thing as racism, or it's no big deal because it benefits you. And then if you're on the bottom, that's like so-called black people around the world, the ones who say race don't matter, you're scared and you don't want to tell the truth. You can't face the fact that, hey, why are we getting oppressed all over the world? I can't answer the question, or I don't know the answer. So I'm going to just pretend like, oh, race doesn't exist and we're all friends and everybody's getting along all over the world and it's no big thing and we can just all be the same. I don't know if y'all know definitions, but the same means exact. If you look different, if you act different, if you think different, then you're the complete opposite of the same. So stop with the silliness. That's just fear, and that's just perpetuating other people's lies. And that's all that simply is. So back to the point. You're made in God's image. So let's see, who are they talking about? You made in the Most High Yah's image. How was man even created? Let's look at how man was created. If we examine how man was created, we'll look at how the Most High created them. He created them out of the ground, out of the dust. Now, I don't know if you know anything about dust, if you know anything about ground, earth, soil, but all ground, earth, soil that I know is brown and black. Facts. Things that can't be disputed. Of course, you can use idiot's logic. We know idiot's logic. Idiot's logic is when you come up with one example out of a million, or you try to disprove factual things with stupidity. So let somebody will say like, well, there's some sand in one part of the world that's white. First of all, soil and dust is not sand. And that's one part of the world. What does all other sand and dust look like? It's still a variation of brown. Even if you was talking about sand, but we're not even talking about sand. But that's the type of thing that idiots do. They try to find a loophole all the time to dispute factual evidence by saying something that's either mutation or abnormality in the world. They'll give you one example out of a million, and then they'll try to use that as the case to disprove your argument. And you like, come on, man, that's stupidity. If you say it's hot in the summertime, idiot's logic will say, one time in 1976, it was only 54 degrees for a week in the summer, so it's not always hot in the summer. And you like, that's just idiot's logic. We know that 99.9% of the time, no matter where you go, most places on the earth in the summertime is hot, or at least way warmer than it would be any other seasons. And when you're dealing with stupidity, you don't even argue or try to dispute stupidity, because you can't win with an idiot. So we're trying to find out who the Israelite people are. The Israelite people are descendants of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, so on and so forth. But who were these people? Who did they look like? They were in regions of Egypt in captivity. They were in the land of Canaan. All of these areas were pretty much in what we would know now as in or around Africa and the Middle East. But it's not the way that it looks now. It was all connected land masses. There were rivers and things dividing, but it didn't look like it looks now. We know that land masses break apart. The weather over thousands of years changes things. We know that people migrate. So just because you say some land was a little far away is no different than if you started off in Florida and your family and then they migrated to California. It's really no different. Of course, they weren't in cars. They were riding horses or camels. They had boats. but it's just migration that can explain where people came from. But to live in those regions were all extremely warm and hot. So to live in those regions, you had to have melanated skin, dark skin, brown skin, black skin, dark skin, not actually black as, coat black or shirt black. It probably wasn't that black, but what we see is black, what we call black. But a good place to start is with the story of Moses, because we can pretty much all agree that if you lived in Egypt, you were a brown and black skinned people at that time. I know the movies, the Ten Commandments and all these movies that's made in Hollywood, they'll try to show you that these people were white or some pale skinned race, but that's not true. You weren't living in them hot conditions. People in those areas were not genetically Caucasians or any of those races. We know that Caucasians come from the Caucasus Mountains. That's why they call Caucasians. The Caucasians tell you in their stories that they come from the mountains, the ice, the caveman, Neanderthal. They tell you this, but then they try to switch it up when it's convenient for them and say, oh no, yeah, we came from the mountains, we were Neanderthals, but we were also in Egypt in the hot weather too. Well, we know that's not true, because pale skin races can't even be in hot weather for long periods of time without sunscreen and those type of things. They can't even go to the beach and be out there an hour with their shirt off or something without having tons of sunscreen. So you mean to tell me after Moses led the Israelites, who were black, these were black people, black Americans, so-called black, the term that we use, black Americans, blacks from the Caribbeans, other places scattered across the world, some in Africa. We're the Israelites. Let's let the cat out the bag. Okay, so Moses and the rest of the black people, the Israelites, the Hebrews, after they left Egypt and the Most High Yah sent the plagues on Pharaoh and got him out of Egypt, Moses parted the Red Sea. Most of us know that story. The Israelites walked through. The Most High closed the sea when the Egyptians walked through and killed them. The Israelites marched around in the desert for 40 years because we did wickedness. We wasn't listening to the Most High. He didn't intend to us to march around for 40 years in the desert. But the fact that we marched around for 40 years in the desert, y'all know doggone well that white people and pale-faced races is not finna march around in no desert for no 40 years. You know how much sunscreen you would need to walk around for 40 years in the desert, being a pale-faced race? And that's just the truth of it. People could say, oh, that's race. That's not racism. Telling the truth. Whites and pale-faced races use sunscreen. What's racist about that? You got to remember, they always accuse us of things that they do. So if you try to discover your history, and if you tell the facts about who you are and how things are, you're the racist. They can kill us, oppress us, make an oppressive system, steal our identity, lie to us constantly, and they not racist, but we are if we say a factual thing about them. If you say they were cavemen, you're a racist. You said you was cavemen. Darwin, the theory of evolution, you said you come from monkeys. You try to say everybody come from monkeys, but just think about how it's reverse racism constantly. When they're trying to spew racist terms at you and hatred, they call you a monkey, but they say that everyone, we come from monkeys. What they're doing, that's reverse racism. They're saying they come from monkeys. They come from Neanderthals. They lived in caves. They know you never lived in caves. And then they'll say, oh, but you're a monkey. No, you're a monkey. That's what you said. You said Darwin theory, right? You come from monkeys. This is your science. This is your beliefs. You can't argue against yourself. That's the thing. When you put out information to the world and you say that it's true, you can't come back and argue against yourself. This is what you told us. You make the caveman movies and show yourself grunting and growling and beating up your woman and throwing her across your shoulder and dragging her and fighting bears and wolves and over meat and eating raw meat and all this stuff. You make that. You can't blame us. Then if we just say what you said and give it back to you, you can't call us racist. You mean you can do it, but that's not factual. It's not true. Just another one of the lies. So the Israelites are in the desert for 40 years, right? Wandering around and living. The Most High is providing for us, but He not letting us out because of things that we did, and then He also testing our faith. The whole time that we there, we not being faithful the whole time we there. A lot of the times, we acting a fool, worshiping false gods. Moses go up to the mountain with the Most High Yah for 40 days to talk, pray, to get instruction. We come to Aaron like, oh, we panicking. The leader is not there. So they like, well, let's make us in some wickedness. Let's make the Aaron make us an idol so we could worship. He go along with it, I guess, because he's scared. He don't want the people to do nothing to him, or he tired of hearing the grunting or whatever reason. And he tell them to take their rings and all their gold and stuff off, give it to them. They melt it down, and then he make a calf for them to worship so they could do some idol worship. Now, of course, this go against the Most High, because He don't want you to worship nothing but Him. He don't want you bowing to no crosses. Let's just tell the truth. He don't want you bowing to no statues. He don't want you bowing to no people. What do they call celebrities? Idols. He don't want you doing no idol worship. Tell the truth of it. No idol worship. He don't want you bowing to no animals. He don't want you bowing to the sun. The moon, the stars, none of that. He said He's a jealous God. He's a jealous Elohim. He does not want you bowing to nothing. Deuteronomy 5 and 6. I am the Most High, your Elohim, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. Verse 7. You shall have no other gods before me, besides me. 8. You shall not make for yourself an idol in the form of anything in heaven above. So even if it come from heaven, you're not supposed to worship it. You're not supposed to worship nothing if you are Israelite, but the Most High God. That's it. Yo Elohim. That's what God means in Hebrew. Elohim. 5 and 8. Deuteronomy 5 and 8. You shall not make for yourself an idol in the form of anything in heaven or on the earth beneath or in the waters below. 9. You shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Most High Yah, am a jealous Elohim, a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of the fathers to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments. The Most High gave instructions on what we were supposed to do, how we were supposed to live, and how we supposed to behave as the chosen people, as his Israelites. But we're going to keep going backwards and forwards. Going back to Moses and the people in the desert. Matter of fact, we're going to go before. We're going to go to when Moses was born. At that time, Pharaoh was the king of Egypt. He saw that the Israelites who were enslaved in Egypt, because we came to Egypt because of Joseph. Joseph was before Moses. Joseph was Jacob's son. Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers. They wanted to kill him, but they didn't kill him because of the older brother Reuben told him not to kill him. They wanted to kill him because they was jealous because he had more favor in his father Jacob's eyes. They threw him down a well. They took his coat, put some animal blood, I think it was a sheep, took it back to the father, told the father that Joseph was dead, he got killed. They bought his coat back so his father would recognize his coat. He see the blood on it. He like, oh, I can't, my son gone. No, his brothers, these are his brothers. They say he was killed. Then he dead. They sell him into slavery to some merchants, and then the merchants took him and sold him to Egypt. He was in Potiphar's house. Potiphar was one of the generals in Egypt under Pharaoh. So he was cool at first, but Potiphar's wife wanted to have sex with him and be with him. He didn't want to be with her. Don't that sound familiar? So she lied and said he did. He ran away. He ran off. Once she tried to have sex with him and do whatever coming on to him, he's like, no, I'm out of here. She go back to Potiphar and tell him, Joseph tried to have sex with me. That Hebrew tried to have sex with me. That Israelite. But the Egyptians called us Hebrews, which we are that too, but Hebrew Israelites, we Hebrew. She like, that Hebrew tried to have sex with me. Of course, Potiphar, he hot. He mad. He want to kill him. They end up putting him into prison, though. So he was in prison for some years when he was in prison, the baker and the cupbearer of Pharaoh got thrown into prison, because you know how it is in the days with a king or somebody with power. If they get mad at you, they'll just throw you in prison for whatever. If you just make them mad, whatever. So, or kill you or whatever. So he threw them in prison. They did something he didn't like. While they was in prison, Joseph, he always seen dreams. He even had dreams initially that he was gonna be over his brothers, his father, his mother. They didn't believe him. Of course, they thought he was just trying to say some wickedness or something. But anyway, he had a dream, and he ended up interpreting. He can interpret dreams. He ended up asking the Most High. He interpreted the dreams that the baker had and the cupbearer had, and basically he had to let them know, like, okay, the cupbearer, you gonna die based off your dream. Pharaoh gonna kill you. The baker, he gonna let you live, and you gonna get out of prison. But remember, after you get out, tell Pharaoh that I helped you out. I interpreted your dream for you so he can let me out. I can get out of this prison. Now he in prison. It's a good example because we go through things and people think the Most High left you. But the Most High was with him the whole time. In his whole situation, all of this was ordained to happen. So later on, some years went by. He didn't tell Pharaoh the baker when he got out. He forgot all about Joseph. Some years went by. Pharaoh had a dream, and part of his dream, he had a dream of a fat cow and a real skinny cow. And the skinny cow ended up devouring the fat cow in the dream. And he like, well, I don't know what this means. So he asking different seers and different, fortune tellers, mediums, spiritualists, whatever, sorcerers in his culture. And from around the world, he asking them to interpret this dream. Nobody can do it. The baker remember, like, oh yeah, when I was in prison, this Hebrew, he interpreted my dream, and it came true. So Pharaoh like, well, go get, who was this? Bring him out. So they clean Joseph up. They bring him out. He interpret Pharaoh's dream, and he let him know, like, it means you're gonna have 7 years of prosperity where everything is all good. That's the fat cow. But then it's going to be 7 years of real bad famine. That's the skinny cow. So he like, you got to really store up and save in them lean years when it's the famine. I mean, it's in the good years when it's not the famine, because in them lean years when it is the famine, it's going to be brutal. So you need to, get somebody to make a plan for that so y'all could be okay. Pharaoh like, well, I'm going to get you, because you the one who interpreted the dream, and you the one who the Most High let your God, your Elohim, he interpreted the dream and gave you the ability to let me know. Nobody else knew this, so I'm going to let you the head man in charge up under me. So then he do something that, another thing that lets you know these are so-called black people. These are people, melanated people. He gives Joseph a necklace or a chain off his neck, just like the rappers do these days, and the entertainers. Oh man, you in this record label, now you with us. He do the same thing. He take a chain off his neck, he take a ring off his finger and put it on Joseph's finger, and a chain off his neck and put it on Joseph's neck. And basically say, now you with Egyptian records, basically, you with us. Then he end up giving him a Egyptian wife. Of course they changed his clothes and all that, because Egyptians and Hebrews, they were both black. So they look the same. The only difference is Hebrews have beards. Hebrews would have different style of hair. A lot of times the Egyptians wore the Horus lock, where they would shave their head and then they would just have that one braided piece of hair, that one like a ponytail or a lock, and that one of the rest of the hair be shaved. If you don't know what I mean, go look it up. The Horus lock, after one of their gods, Horus. And they wouldn't have beards. They usually would be clean shaven. But other than that, the skin color was the same. Which the skin color of most of the people, the Ammonites, the Canaanites, the Amalekites, all these different people at that time in that area, they were all black, all melanated, brown or black skinned people, dark skinned people at that time. All. So anyway, Joseph, he ended up ruling up under Pharaoh for years. He ended up saving Egypt because he stored up and saved during the good 7 years. He ended up saving the land of Canaan, which his father Jacob and his brothers were lived. They ended up having to come to ask for grain and ask for food because they didn't have anything. The famine hit everywhere. People from all over was coming to Egypt for food, and Joseph was in charge of distributing it. Like, he kept everybody alive. He ended up saving his brothers, even though his brothers tried to have him basically killed or have him his demise, but he ended up later on saving him. This was all the part of the Most High Yah plan. So the Most High operates way ahead of us, things that we can't even think about, can't see, because he's the Most High. He's at the most awesome God, the Elohim, the Almighty. He can see things. He built everything. He could see things that we can't see, that we would never know. So he already knew what was going to happen. He knew he needed Joseph to do this. So he let Joseph go through all that pain so he could be the hero in the end and save his people. So his brothers end up coming. They can't recognize him when they come and ask for food because he's dressed like an Egyptian. They see that he's a black man, quote unquote, a dark-skinned man, but they can't tell because his beard gone. He got the horse lock and whatever, probably, he dressed in the Egyptian clothes. He got on the Egyptian jewelry. So they thinking he just some Egyptian man. But of course he recognized them because they dressed the same. They looked the same. Eventually he revealed himself. I'm not going to tell the whole story. You got to go back and read that, or I'll do that at a different time. But he eventually revealed himself to them. They come back and forth. They bring their other brother at Joseph's request, Benjamin. Benjamin was his only brother through his mother. So his mother only had 2 sons, Joseph and Benjamin. So he wanted to see his little brother Benjamin. He made them bring Benjamin. And once everything was revealed, he forgave his brothers. They all cried together. He made sure they were straight. He went back and checked on his father. Then eventually he bought his father, all his brothers, and their whole house. And when we say house, that means all the relatives at that time. I think 75 people, 77 people came out of Joseph's house at that time. They all went back to Egypt to live with Joseph because Joseph like, well, come be with me. We straight here. I got a high position. Ain't no point in y'all living there. Let's all be together and we can live good. And that's what they did. Pharaoh was okay with it. He said, yeah, come on, make sure they good. And they lived there for all of the rest of Jacob's life. Jacob was old at the time, his father, all throughout the brothers' lives, all throughout Joseph's life. But when Joseph passed and he died, over that course of time and after, the Israelites, they living, they having babies, whatever, them 77 and whoever else might have been there. Next thing you know, years and years later, fast forward, now we coming into the time of Moses. It's a whole different Pharaoh. And he looking around like, wait a minute. These Israelites is then got numerous, like it's a whole lot of them. Remember, this hundreds of years later. So he like, we got to do something about this before this get out of hand, because if they ever decide to go against us or they get with our enemies, then we they could overthrow us. They could help our enemies overthrow us. So he's saying Exodus 1 and 10, come, we must deal shrewdly with them, or they will become even more numerous. And if war breaks out, we'll join our enemies, fight against us, and lead a country. So they put slave masters over them to oppress them with forced labor, and they built Pithom and Ramses as store cities for Pharaoh. Verse 12, but the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied and spread. So the Egyptians came to dread the Israelites and worked them ruthlessly. They made their lives bitter with hard labor in brick and mortar and with all kinds of work in the fields. In all their hard labor, the Egyptians used them ruthlessly. Verse 15, the king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, whose names were Shiphrah and Puah, when you help the Hebrew women in childbirth and observe them on the delivery stool, if it is a boy, kill him. But if it's a girl, let her live. Back in those days, if you could do the research, and I might show it, they used something called a birthing stool. They didn't lay on their back. That's improper. Laying on your back, the gravity doesn't help you when you're giving birth. You're supposed to either stand and stoop over, crotch down to let the gravitational force help pull the baby out, so you don't have to do all that pushing and tearing and ripping. Or you sit on the birth stool, it's a little stool, and then it just, you in the same type of crouching sitting position, and the gravitational pull helps the baby come out. All these things is done in this society is perversions and backwards, things that go against the natural way of things. But the key was 1 and 16. When you help the Hebrew women in childbirth and observe them on the delivery stool, if it is a boy, kill him. But if it's a girl, let her live. What does this sound like? It's nothing new under the sun, as the Bible says. All this stuff is the same. Kill the boys, just like we see in society today. It's not saying black women don't get abused and they don't get killed, but the aim is to kill the males. The aim is to effeminize the males. The aim in slavery in America was to kill the males. Same type of slave. We was in slavery multiple times. These are the same people, the black people, the Israelites. The same stuff that was going on, some of it in Egypt when we was enslaved by Egyptians who were dark-skinned black people too, but they weren't the same people. The same type of stuff. Oh, if it's a boy, kill him, or be hard on the boys, or mistreat because obviously the boys can grow up to be men. The men are going to be soldiers. They'll fight against us, so get rid of the boys. But he said if it's a girl, let them live. We ain't got no problem, because when it's a female, they figure When you're in oppressed states, if it's a female, they figure we can just rape the females, we can just lay with the females, and then we'll put our DNA in the females, we'll put our lineage in the females. We can control the females because we're physically stronger, and then basically we'll just have other little versions of ourselves once they born and make them raise the children. This is the ideology. Make them raise the children in our ways and our customs. We can always marry them. We can have them as mistresses or whatever. So we ain't that worried about the women. We just worried about the men because the men gonna fight against us. Verse 1 and 17, chapter 1 and 17, Exodus. Verse 17, the midwives, however, feared Yah and did not do what the king of Egypt had told them to do. They let the boys live. 18, then the king of Egypt summoned the midwives and asked them, why have you done this? Why have you let the boys live? Verse 19, the midwives answered Pharaoh, Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women. They are vigorous. Vigorous means strong. And give birth before the midwives arrive. So Yah was kind to the midwives, and the people increased and became even more numerous. So the Most High don't care about what men and women, what people want, especially people that's not of him, that's not doing his ways. And so Pharaoh trying to kill all the Hebrews, the Israelites, he trying to kill them. The Most High say even more of them gonna be born in. These my people, even more of them gonna be born, cause you trying to get rid of them. Verse 21, and because the midwives feared Yah, he gave them families of their own. Then Pharaoh gave this order to all his people. Every boy that is born you must throw into the Nile River, but let every girl live. Again, look at the past, look at the present, or even the time that came after that. So what I'm saying is examine both forms of slavery for Israelites, for black people. Pharaoh said in those days, throw them in the Nile River. The Nile River got a bunch of crocodiles in them that's huge. He's saying kill the babies, drown them, let the animals eat them. Fast forward. What was going on during the slavery times in the Americas and in the Middle Passage and all that? Throwing the people overboard to the sharks. Throwing the babies in the rivers, letting the alligators and crocodiles eat them. What that sound like? It's nothing new under the sun. Same behavior. Rome and Greek, the two great Caucasian cultures, as far as they, in their mind, they claim they two greatest cultures, Rome and Greece. They both studied Egypt intensively. They gods came from a lot of the Egyptian gods. They just changed the names, the ideology of their gods, a lot of their ways, learning science, learning math, learning how to operate, learning how to enslave black people, enslave Israelites. They learned from the Egyptians. They studied up under them like, oh, these people make good slaves. Let's go back into the history. They've been enslaved before. But it wasn't that this is just men's doing. This is not just wicked men doing all this just because they having the power. The Most High gave the power to these men, to these different nations to be able to do this to us because of our wickedness, our disobedience, because of us worshiping other gods, because of us doing sexual sins. Because of us not listening to him over and over again, fighting each other, mostly mostly the idol worship, worshiping other gods, though. That's the thing that the Most High seems to hate the most. Not honoring him and worshiping other gods, because I mean that's basically the start of everything. Once you start worshiping other gods and not honoring the Most High, yeah, of course you're not gonna follow his rules, because you're trying to follow the rules of whatever other gods or whatever customs you're trying to do. His rules is don't have no other gods, don't bow to no idols, don't make no idols of stone or metal or wood. Don't be making no animals, signs, and worship. Don't be making no statues and worshiping. Don't be making no metal crosses and worshiping and all this different stuff. Don't be worshiping no symbols. That include unks and all that. Don't be worshiping no symbols. Don't be worshiping no people. Don't be worshiping no animals. But we was doing all this. But I'm going to get to that. So during this time, a Levi woman and a Levi man, they get married. She become pregnant with a son. She gave birth to him, and she was able to hide him for about 3 months. But when she couldn't hide him no more, she got a basket, put some tar at the bottom so the water wouldn't get in, laid down something soft for the baby to be in, and she put the baby in it and pushed him down the Nile River. Now, she didn't do this so he could get ate or killed or nothing. She was trying to protect him. This is her baby. She did that because she knew that Pharaoh's daughter go on this part of the river to bathe. Back in them days, people bathed in the river. So she pushed the baby down there. The whole time his sister Miriam is watching. So she kind of looking, she going, kind of going along, running along, following the basket, hiding probably behind bushes or whatever, trying to just making sure that he reach his destination. The destination is push him down river, or up river, however it went, to get to Pharaoh's daughter. So when he reached his destination, she saw the basket. The Pharaoh's daughter saw the basket. They got caught in the reeds. And she sent one of her slave girls, a Hebrew, to go get the baby. She opened the basket, the baby crying. She felt sorry for him. Pharaoh's daughter felt sorry for him. This is one of the Hebrew babies, she said. Chapter 2, verse 7. Then his sister asked Pharaoh's daughter. Remember, she was watching. So she followed along, making sure everything goes smooth. Shall I go and get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you? Verse 8. Yes, go, she answered. And the girl went and got the baby's mother. 9. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, take this baby and nurse him for me, and I will pay you. So the woman took the baby and nursed him. Now, how ironic is that? That ain't nothing but the work of the Most High Yah. Pharaoh say, kill all the Hebrew babies. The Most High Yah say, nah, I'm good. I'm going to make your house take in a Hebrew baby. And more stuff going to happen from that. But we still right at this point. I'm going to make your house take in the Hebrew baby. I'm going to make your daughter take in this Hebrew baby as her own son. She going to feel sorry for the baby. It's going to touch her heart. So I'm going to soften her heart. His own sister, which Pharaoh's daughter didn't know that, says, should I go get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby? Because, of course, she can't nurse the baby. She ain't pregnant. She ain't had no baby recently, so she can't nurse the baby. So she said, yeah, go get one of them because it's a Hebrew baby. She said, go get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby. His sister, which she didn't know that, goes to get his very own mother, which Pharaoh's daughter didn't know that, to nurse the baby. Look how y'all work. Look how the Most High God work. That's why they say mysterious ways, things that we would never know or never think of. So she take the baby, she nursed the baby till the baby get older, however old that was at that time. I'm sure it was older than what we do now. Now most children don't get nursed but between 6 months and a year. But I'm sure it was probably a couple of years, probably at least 2 or 3 years. So once he weaned and he not on milk no more, when he grow older, verse 10, when the child grew older, she took him to Pharaoh's daughter and he became her son. She named him Moses, which in Hebrew it sounds like to draw out, saying, I drew him out of the water. So she named him Moses. Okay, so he grows up in the household. So clearly, if he growing up in an Egyptian household, he's going to dress like an Egyptian. They going to, as he growing up, as his hair starts to grow on his face, they going to make sure it stays shaven or waxed or whatever. He going to have Egyptian clothes. He going to learn their customs and their ways. He going to probably have the Egyptian haircut, the bald head with the Horus lock or something like that. He not going to have the haircut and hairstyle of a Hebrew because he in Pharaoh's house. He in the Egyptian household. But one day when he grew up, he see an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own people, because he's a Hebrew. He's still a Hebrew at heart. He might be in an Egyptian household. And he seen when nobody around, he killed the Egyptian and then hid this body in the sand. The next day he see 2 Hebrews fighting and he like, why you hitting your brother, your fellow Hebrew? That's your brother. Then one of the men asked him, who made you ruler and judge over us? Who made you the king over us? And they like, are you thinking about killing us like you did the Egyptians? So he realized like, oh, as they say, the cat's out the bag, the secret is out. People know that I did this. So he fled because Pharaoh heard what happened and he wanted to kill Moses. So he left. He went to a land called Midian. When he was there, it was a man. He had a bunch of daughters, 7 daughters. They was at the river, getting the water for their flock. So whatever flock they had, whether it was sheep, goats, whatever, he ended up helping them to water their flock, to put they water in they different jugs or troughs or whatever they used. And the father, they left. When they got back home, the father well, how'd y'all get done so quick? And they say, chapter 2, verse 19, they answered, an Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds. So the shepherds, I forgot to mention that, some shepherds was kind of bullying them around a little bit, kind of basically butting in front of them on some they trying to get their stuff watered. They nah, y'all going after us. We finna go in front of y'all, cut in front of y'all. Y'all gonna have to wait. He stood up for them and he helped them water they flock so they can hurry up and get done. So they say, an Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds. He even drew water for us and watered the flock. The father saying on 20, where is he? He asked his daughters, why did you leave him? Invite him to have something to eat. So Moses basically agreed to stay with the man, and the man ended up giving his daughter Zipporah to Moses to marry. Moses ended up having a son and named him Gershom, which means in Hebrew an alien there. So basically a foreigner there. So because he was a foreigner in the land of Midian, he wasn't from there. He basically named the son Gershom, which means a foreigner here, an alien foreigner. So during that period of time, that particular Pharaoh died. After a while of him being gone. And the Israelites, slavery was bad. They cried out to the Most High. Verse 24, Yah heard their groaning, and he remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. So Yah looked on the Israelites and was concerned about them. So then the Most High, he revealed himself to Moses in the burning bush. He tells Moses what, his plan is, what he's going to do. Exodus chapter 3, verse 7. Things like this are key. Yah said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. My people. He didn't say everybody was his people. He didn't say the Egyptians was his people. He's saying the Israelites, my people. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them out of that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me. Verse 9, now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. So now go, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses said to Yah, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? Verse 12, and Yah said, I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship Yah on this mountain. So the very mountain that he was on, that's what he said he was going to be worshiping him when he brought the people out, or they was going to be worshiping. So the Most High distinguished, he said, those are my people. I seen how they being oppressed, and I'm about to stop it. I'm going to send you. You're going to be my man. You're going to be my soldier that I'm going to use to stop this. Now, I'm going to fast forward a little bit of time. Moses delivered black people, Israelites, Hebrews, out of slavery during those times. Another person later on helped deliver black people, Israelites, Hebrews, out of slavery in the time, more modern times, in the time of the Americas. Her name was Harriet Tubman. Guess what she was called? They used to call her Moses. Sound very familiar. Let's keep going. So I'm not going to tell the whole story of Moses. You read that for yourself. Most people know that story. I'm just trying to draw the lines to show you that you are Israelite, so you can know that first and foremost. So then you know that your people are the Israelites. You can learn what you're supposed to be doing. You can learn why you're going through all this. And then what's going to happen from that. How the Most High is going to take us out of this oppression, out of this slavery, out of these curses, because we still in slavery. We might not be so much in physical slavery, even though, you work, you barely have any money. You got to go to other nations for everything. People could kill you and nothing happens. So, it's slavery, it's oppression, it's curses. So when people be like, we ain't up under no curses, that's crazy. And why would God put you up under curses? Well, we put up under curses because we kept on disobeying him, praising and worshiping other gods and doing wickedness. That's why. That's why he would do it. And the Bible tell you why he'd do it. Those are facts. Okay. So now we're going to get into what the Most High wanted us to do. What we were supposed to do so all of this wouldn't happen. All them bad things that happened so they wouldn't happen. This what we were supposed to do. But we didn't do none of the things that we were supposed to do. Not as a whole, not enough. It was too much backsliding, too much not following what the Most High said, which led to these problems. Now, the Most High gave us the 10 Commandments. So after Moses led the people out, we in the desert. The Most High took Moses on Mount Sinai. He come back down. He got the tablets with the 10 Commandments. Exodus chapter 20. And Yah spoke all these words. I am the Most High your Elohim who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. 3. You shall have no other gods before me besides me. 4. You shall not make for yourself an idol in the form of anything in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below. 5. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. For I, the Most High your Elohim, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of their fathers to the 3rd and 4th generation of those who hate me, but showing love to 1,000 generations of those who love and keep my commandments. 7. You shall not misuse the name of Yah, for the Most High will not hold anyone guiltless who misuses his name. So saying the name Lord and the name of the Most High in vain, like they say, the old folks say, saying the Lord's name in vain. But Lord wasn't the proper term, because we know kings and anybody who was of nobility, they would call each other Lord. Lord ain't the proper term. But using the Most High Yah name in vain. Making vows or just saying, I put that, you know how these young people, I put that on God. On God, on this, on that. Even though God ain't the proper term, but even it's that notion. I swear to God. All that type of stuff. They're not supposed to do that. Just let whatever you say, as the Bible say, let what you say, your yes be your yes and your no be your no. You don't have to do none of that. 8. This is very important. Remember the Sabbath day. That's Saturday, not Sunday. Sunday is the first day of the week. It is not the 7th. The Most High Yah rested on the 7th day. Stop with the Sunday worship. That's wrong. That's wickedness. That's wickedness. I'll tell you where that come from later, but that's wickedness. And pretty much people know that. People just still following the traditions and wickedness. You know that Sunday is the first day of the week. It's not the 7th. So why are you resting and having a holy day on the first day of the week instead of the 7th? Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Most High Yah. On it you shall do no work, neither you, nor your son or daughter, nor your manservant or maidservant, nor your animals, nor the alien, that's the foreigner, within your gates. For in 6 days Yah made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, but he rested on the 7th day. Therefore the Most High blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. No work on Saturday. Verse 12. Honor your father and mother so that you may live long in the land the Most High your Elohim is giving you. 13. You shall not murder. That don't mean if you at war with other nations. All you gotta do is read your Bible. When you was at war with other nations or people trying to harm you and stuff like that, the Most High is all for killing. He made sure you wiped them all out. He made you to fight. That's just a part of life. Even animals, nobody's gonna let nobody harm them and not do nothing back. Nobody gonna let you hurt their children, hurt their family. That's not of Yah. That's some bull crap. You shall not murder. He's talking about your brothers, your sisters, your other Israelite people. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not be sleeping with other people's husbands and wives. You shall not steal from your brothers and sisters. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. Your neighbor is the person living by you, living with you. That means people of your nation. Your nation meaning your people, Israelites, black people, other people that's of your nation. You should not be lying on them. You should not covet your neighbor's house, another Israelite's house. You shouldn't covet his wife or his manservant or maidservant, his donkey or ox, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. So in these times, that's the person's car, their house, their children, their garden, whatever they got. You should not be talking about, oh, I want that to be mine, and oh, they don't deserve this, and why he got this, why she got that. That's wickedness. That's against the Most High. Verse 22. Then Yah said to Moses, tell the Israelites this. You have seen for yourselves that I have spoken to you from heaven. 23. Do not make any gods to be alongside me. Do not make for yourselves gods of silver or gods of gold. No other gods. Period. The Most High do not play about that. Chapter 23, Exodus 23 and 14. The Most High tell us the 3 times that we supposed to be celebrating throughout the year. So as what people would know as holidays, this will be our holidays. The 3 annual festivals. Verse 14, 3 times a year you ought to celebrate a festival to me. 15, celebrate the feast of unleavened bread for 7 days. Eat bread made without yeast as I commanded you. Do this at the appointed time in the month of Abib, for in that month you came out of Egypt. No one is to appear before me empty-handed. 16, celebrate the feast of harvest with the first fruits of the crops you sow in the field. Celebrate the feast of ingathering at the end of the year, when you gather in your crops of the field. 3 times a year all the men shall appear before the Most High Yah. Do not offer the blood of a sacrifice to me along with anything containing yeast. The fat of my festival offerings must not be kept until morning. Bring the best fruits of your soil to the house of Yah. Do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. Some of that may not apply because we don't do all the burnt offerings and all and the peace offerings, but in that form, because we don't have animals to sacrifice or nothing like that. But you could still give a sin offering and a peace offering to the Most High Yah. It just wouldn't be in the form of an animal. Like the Most High gave us all these different commands and different things to do, so we would know how to live. Now I'm going to tell you the story of idol worship. Exodus 32. This is an example of idol worship. It happened many a times. When the people saw that Moses was long and coming down from the mountain, remember he was on the mountain with the Most High Yah. They gathered around Aaron. I told this story and said, come make us gods who will go before us. As for this fellow Moses who brought us up out of Egypt, we don't know what has happened to him. So basically, soon as they didn't know where Moses was no more, they basically like, well, he gone, so I mean, we ain't, we in the desert. We ain't dealing with him no more. He must be gone. He must have left us, and we need something else. The Most High must have left us too. So give us something that we could use. Basically, something that we can see, something that we feel right now. So they live and want to live moment to moment. Who that sound like? People living moment to moment, not having no faith. Aaron answered them, "Take off the gold earrings that your wives, your sons, and your daughters are wearing, and bring them to me." So although you might have thought that was a thing that came from Caucasian pirates and things like that, no, we was wearing earrings a long time before that. As you see, take off the earrings that your wives, your son, and your daughters are wearing and bring them to me. So all the people took off their earrings and brought them to Aaron. He took what they handed him and made it into an idol cast in the shape of a calf. A calf is a baby cow, fashioning it with a tool. Then he said, "These are your gods, or this is your God, O Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt." Like what? When Aaron saw this, he built an altar in front of the calf and announced, "Tomorrow there will be a festival to the Most High." So the next day the people rose early and sacrificed burnt offerings and presented fellowship offerings or peace offerings. Afterwards they sat down to eat and drank and got up to indulge in revelry. Revelry is basically foolery, craziness. Then the Most High said to Moses, "Go down, because your people who you brought up out of Egypt have become corrupt. They have been quick to turn away from what I commanded them and have made themselves an idol cast in the shape of a calf. They have bowed down to it and sacrificed to it and have said, 'These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you out of Egypt.'" Aaron said that. "I have seen these people," the Most High said to Moses, "and they are a stiff-necked people." Stiff-necked, hard-headed. Remember? Who say that? Who said that? Your grandmamas, your great-grandmothers. Who said that to your people? You got all these things. There's nothing new under the sun. All these are descriptions of our people. They might not have said stiff-necked, but they said hard-headed. Same thing. Your neck and your head is connected. Hard-headed, stiff-necked. That mean learn slow. That mean you gotta keep on, no matter what they see, they stubborn. They don't believe, or you give them an example, they believe for a second, they do it for a while, but then they go right back to something else that they know they shouldn't be doing. "Now leave me alone so that my anger may burn against them and that I might destroy them. Then I will make you into a great nation." So he telling Moses, like, I'll just kill them and I'll just, go from you and we can start over. But Moses sought the favor of the Most High Yah. "Oh Yah," he said, "why should your anger burn against your people who you brought out of Egypt with great power and a mighty hand? Why should the Egyptians say it was with evil intent that he brought them out, to kill them in the mountains and to wipe them off the face of the earth? Turn from your fierce anger, relent, and do not bring disaster on your people. Remember your servants, Abraham, Isaac, and Israel," or Jacob, because he changed his name from Jacob to Israel, "to whom you swore by your own self. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, and I will give your descendants all this land I promised them, and it will be their inheritance forever." Then the Most High relented and did not bring on his people the disaster he had threatened. On his people. Everybody is not. I repeat, everybody is not the Most High Yah's people. That is not what the Bible says. Because if you don't follow him, if you worship other gods, if he did not choose you, then you ain't his people. So all that stuff where it say the world, the nation, that don't mean everybody. That's talking about Israel. That don't mean everybody in the world. That's a contradictory. The Most High does not like wickedness. He hates wickedness. So how could you love everybody when they don't love you? When they do wickedness, why would he love you? If he loved them, then he gotta love the wickedness that they do. That stuff that they try to teach. Oh, he love people, he just don't love the sin, so it don't matter. No, that's not how the Most High works. Even with the chosen people, us, even when you just saw it right there, he was gonna destroy them. He say, man, they doing wrong, I'm finna destroy them. He don't be with that. He don't play games where you can just do whatever you want and he gonna still love you and be with you no matter what, and you gonna prosper, and all you gotta do is just say, oh well, just forgive me, that's it. And then I can go right back to doing wickedness again, and then oh Father, just forgive me. That's a joke in a game, and the Most High Yah is definitely not no joke. And he definitely don't let you play with his emotions and play with him like that.
We got to start taking life more serious and the Most High Yah more serious, because he's not a game and life is definitely not a game.
So back to the verse. He says 14, 32 and 14. Then Yah relented and did not bring on his people the disaster he threatened. Moses turned and went down the mountain with the 2 tablets of the testimony in his hands. They were inscribed on both sides, front and back. So the Most High wrote front and back what he wanted. The tablets were the work of Yah. The writing was the writing of Yah engraved on the tablets. When Joshua heard the noise of the people shouting, he said to Moses, there was the sound of war in the camp. Moses replied, it is not the sound of victory. It is not the sound of defeat. It is the sound of singing that I hear. When Moses approached the camp and saw the calf and the dancing, his anger burned, and he threw the tablets out of his hands, breaking them into pieces at the foot of the mountain. And he took the calf that had been made and burned it in the fire, and then he ground it into powder, scattered it on the water, and made the Israelites drink it. So he was hot. He was beyond hot. He done threw the tablets that the Most High done gave him with the 10 Commandments inscribed on them. He done broke them. He took the calf, burnt it, ground it up, put it in the water, and made the people drink it. Like, he was not playing. He like, man, come on, man. The Most High done been too good to us. He done showed me too many things and did too many things for us, and y'all playing with him. And y'all playing with me because I got to lead y'all, and y'all putting me in harm's way. I'm furious. I love y'all. I'm trying to do all right things. Y'all already is so hard leading y'all, and then the minute I turn my back, y'all gonna betray the Most High and betray me. Man, I'm not with it. He said to Aaron, why did these people do that to you? What did these people do to you that you led them into such sin? Aaron talking about, don't be angry, my Lord. You know how prone these people are to evil. They said to me, make us gods who will go before us. As for this fellow Moses who brought us up out of Egypt, we don't know what has happened to him. So I told them, whoever has any gold jewelry, take it off. Then they gave me the gold, and I threw it in the fire, and came out, and out came this calf. Moses said that the people were running wild, saw that the people were running wild, and that Aaron had let them get out of control. Remember, revelry. You'll hear that word in some other later times when I do some other teachings. The people were out of control, and so become a laughing stock to their enemies. So he stood at the entrance to the camp and said, whoever is for Yah, come to me. And all the Levites rallied to him. Then he said to them, this is what the Most High, the Elohim of Israel, says. Each man strap a sword to his side. Since y'all be thinking the Most High game. We all do. We all guilty of this. The Most High ain't no game. Strap a sword. Each man strap a sword to his side. Go back and forth through the camp from one side, from one end to the other, killing his brother, a friend, and a neighbor. The Levites did as Moses commanded, and that day about 3,000 of the people died. So they killed 3,000 people for this little calf game. The Most High wanted to kill everybody. He wanted to kill a lot more. Moses begged for the people, and Moses said, well, I'm gonna make the blow a little less, because the Most High Yah wanted everybody up out of here. So I'm gonna make the blow way less, because he was gonna get rid of everybody. Then Moses said, you have been set apart to the Most High Yah today, for you were against your own sons and brothers. He talking to the Levites. So this is when the Levites got set apart to be special even within that group of Israelites, because they killed their own people for the Most High. You didn't go along and just say, well, hey, now I'm going to stick with them, man. We all doing this wickedness together, man. You know, it is what it is. They say, no, I'm with y'all. Let's get them. The next day, Moses said to the people, you have committed a great sin, but now I will go up to Yah. Perhaps I can make atonement for your sin. So Moses went back to Yah and said, oh, what a great sin these people have committed. They have made themselves gods of gold. But now please forgive their sin. But if not, then blot me out of the book you have written. The Most High replied to Moses, whoever has sinned against me, I will blot out of my book. Now go, lead the people to the place I spoke of, and my angel will go before you. However, when the time comes for me to punish, I will punish them for their sin. And the Most High struck the people with a plague because of what they did with the calf Aaron had made. So the Most High still said, I'm going to do my punishment. I'm just not, because you begged and pleaded, I'm not going to make it as severe. I'm going to make it a little less. Because of sin, that's why we being punished to this day. It's written in the Bible, in the Word. Deuteronomy 28, especially. Other chapters in Deuteronomy. Isaiah. A few other books of the Bible. But mostly in Deuteronomy is telling about the blessings that would have happened and would happen if we were to be obedient. And it talks about the curses that would happen if we were disobedient. So we were punished way back then in them times when they were being disobedient. And because of that disobedience, we still being punished now and for our disobedience. Eventually, when we come back to the Most High, with our full heart and soul, we will be forgiven. He will get us up out of this. We will be placed back into our proper position where we the head and not the tail. We in charge. We not beneath everybody. We not being everybody's footstool and everybody got their foot on our necks. And we're going to go over that next time, because that's extremely important, because that's the $1 million question, as they would say. That's the question that everybody asks, everybody wants to know. Why is it that us so-called black people, melanated people across the world, black people that are the Israelites, why do we get treated so bad? Why is all this bad stuff allowed to happen to us? Then other nations use the Bible and they pervert it and try to trick us and make us believe, oh, it's because we're righteous and you're not, or something wrong with you. Yeah, we are cursed, but we not cursed because we're bad. We cursed because we were great. We're good. We're the chosen people, and we decided to do bad. That's why we curse. But we're not cursed because it's something good or great about the other nations. The Most High don't love them. It's just he's allowing them to do this to us because he loves us,
and we didn't love him. Simple as that.
Thank you for tuning in. Video by J. Israel. Word and scripture by the Most High Yah. All praise to the Most High Yah. Thank you. Shalom.